What's up, everybody? I'm Eric. Thanks for watching today. We're outside because when the seasons change, it's time to do something that every hockey player and skater dreams about. That's right, we are here to build the outside hockey rink. So this is something I've been doing for about 6 years. A lot of people want to know what goes into it, so I'm going to kind of walk you through step by step what I do. And let's go check out step one over here in the yard. All right, so here is the location of our rink. We actually put it in the front yard because the grade is better than the backyard. The backyard actually has more of a hill, and you do want to pick an area that's as level as you can. So you'll notice that on the right side here, it's actually a little bit lower than the left side, which means I'll have deeper water on the right side when I go to fill it. As far as getting your size of your yard, I went as big as I could. I end up getting 24 foot wide on the right side here, 48 foot long on that side. And I'm going to show you how to mark it out like I have here with the stakes and the white lines, just to make sure that everything is nice and square. So for this next step, it's important to say that you really only need to do this the first year that you make a rink. For me now, I have these stakes marked out in my yard so I can find them really easy every year. I can put the stakes in and then take a string line, go around all the stakes, and then I can spray paint right where the string line is to give me a nice square rink that's in the same spot every year. But if you haven't done that yet, then all you're going to do is take the spot that you want to start your rink at and you put one stake in. Then you're going to take your string line and you're going to go out toward where you think your second one is going to be. This is just a guess for now. And you're going to take another string line and go out that way to where that one you think is going to be. And you're going to create an L that, eyeball it for now, looks square to you. Then what you're going to do to make sure that it's square is what we call the 3, 4, 5 rule. And in this case, we're going to work with an increment of 3 feet, but you could do 5 feet or whatever. But so if I take 3 feet, I'm going to multiply it by 3, by 4, and by 5 to get perfect square here. So let me show you what I mean. With 3 feet, if I multiply it by 3, I'm going to get 9. So I'm going to come along this line. I have the spray can marked right here at where 9 feet is. That way you mark it, you don't lose it. Over here, 3 times 4 now is going to be 12 feet. So I come down my line and I mark where 12 feet is, where that spray can is. Now the important one is when you do the 5. 3 times 5 is 15. So what you're going to do is take those 2 lines or 2 dots you already made, and you're going to measure from one to the other. And when you get 15 feet, then you know you're exactly square. If you put this down though and it doesn't line up perfect, what you're going to do at that point is take the L shape that you made, and you're either going to move the line in or out, whichever way you need to go, to make sure that those 2 dots line right on what would be the 15 foot mark. So you would have 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, and then 3 times 5 is 15. All those dots connected means you're perfectly square as far out as you want to go on that line, which now sets you up for the next step of marking your next stakes. With your string line nice and square now, it makes it easy to measure out as far as you need. For me, it's 24 feet that way, and that's where I put my stake. And then it's 48 foot that way, and that's where I'll put that stake. Then I'll have 1, 2, 3 all set, and all I need to do is figure out where that back corner is. The way I'm going to figure that out is I'm going to measure 48 foot from this out, and then I'm going to go from that far stake over there, and I'm going to measure 24 foot over, and where those 2 spots meet is where you're going to put that last stake. After that, you can go ahead and spray paint over your string line, and you'll have a nice square rink, just like I do here. So this is what the rink looks like when we're just storing it. We keep it in our basement, and as you can see, it pretty much just fits on a pallet, which is pretty cool considering how big and how much stuff we're actually going to do here to make a cool rink. So let's check out what we got. These are just the white boards that you line your whole rink with. This here is probably the most important piece for right now. It's kind of fragile. We're making sure to take care of it because it's our liner. It's a big, just plastic piece that we're going to lay down that holds all of our water, so we don't want any rips or tears in that. Over here are our deep water supports. We have, you'll see when we make this, but the one side is deeper than the other side when it comes to water, so these are going to help our boards support them. Other than that, we have a box over here. This is pretty much all a little bit hardware and stuff that I use for the extra building of the deep water stuff. It's just kind of extras that most people may or may not need. These are lights that we're gonna put in the trees so we can hang them up and play some pretty sweet night hockey. We got extra stakes and things over here that go in. Let's see, this is our backing net. It's a big giant net that's gonna go behind the regular net so we don't have to chase pucks into the neighbor's yard. It's a great addition there. These are electrical cords, and these are the main brackets. These are the supports that are gonna go staked down into the dirt, and then our boards here can sit right in this little cool channel here. It makes everything super easy. If you're someone who likes to build with wood instead, this is made to fit a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood as well. So if you don't want the boards, whatever, you can buy all these pieces individually, and they work great. By the way, this rink is made by a company called NICERINK. They're in Genoa City, Wisconsin. They're pretty sweet. You can buy all these pieces individually, so really you just customize it to whatever size you need, and it's worked out great for us so far. So next step, let's bring it upstairs, get going. Something I wanted to add about the liner is that this is something we buy every year. It's kind of a one and done. You can reuse them if you're pretty careful, but it's just a plastic kind of tarp. So it's just easier peace of mind to know that you have a fresh one with no pinholes or anything going on with it each year. They're fairly cheap. You just go on to NICERINK, you type in the size of your rink, they add a couple feet, and then you go either ship it or pick it up. And like I said, it's all peace of mind. Then you know you don't have anything left over from last year, like a stick or any little puncture that's gonna make it leak. So that's the only piece though that we get every year.
It's time for a time lapse.
Because every good video has a time lapse.
All right, so now we're on to the fun part, time to build. With the NICERINK, the first thing that they actually recommend to do is to start 7 foot 10 inches away from your corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure 7 foot 10 inches, which comes out to right where I have my hammer here. That's where we're gonna start our first board. So if you wanna come on over here, at the 7 foot 10 mark, I'm gonna put the first corner of my board over here. Just kind of hold it up on my white line. That's when these kick plates come into play. And all you're gonna do here is you're gonna take essentially the middle of your thing, of your kicker, and you want it to go right in line with these hinges here. So I get it close, and then I'm gonna take the spike on the bottom here. I'm gonna end up putting it right on the line. I like to kind of put my finger where I'm gonna need it. Then I can move the board down. I put my spike right on the line. I make sure that I'm perpendicular, you know, a nice T with the white line. And then I step up over here. If you want to come on the other side of me there, this is where you just kind of step it. As long as the ground isn't frozen, this goes in pretty easy. So I wiggle it back and forth a little bit, use a rubber mallet, tap it in, and now I can set my first board right into this channel down here. And I want to try and get it right in the, like right on those hinges is going to be in the middle. So the first one, super easy. We just set in there, kind of leave it along there. Now, if you want to come back on the other side of me here, I'll show you how we get the next board going. These other side of the hinges are going to just kind of come in. You have to lean it forward just a little bit, get your hinges lined up, and then you go ahead and drop it down. It's that simple. Then, I'm ready to go. I go ahead and put this right on the white line again. Same thing as before. This is where the procedure just starts repeating. We put our finger right on the white line where the hinges are. I move the board forward. Spike on the line. And then I'm all set to wiggle it in. So just like that, 2 of them are in. Then I'm going to go ahead. Right at this point, I like to kind of hold my hand on here and just keep these hinges down, while at the same time I go ahead and I lock it in to this next kicker. And now just like that, you can already see that we've got 2 boards in place. and you just keep the process going down the line. When we get to the corner, I'll go ahead and make a video on how we do that. The cool thing about NICERINK is you don't have to have rounded corners. We do just because it's more fun for hockey, but you can just build a nice square box, at which point you just run down the line and connect the hinges. But the corners make just a little bit different of a situation. So when we get to that point, I'll show you what to do. When it comes to building the corner, I measure 7 foot 10 inches out from the stake on each side because it gives me a good starting and ending point for my curve. So I'll set it there, make sure I like where it's at, then I can know where my kicker needs to go, and I actually have to move the boards forward a little bit, put the kicker all the way to one side of the board so that it's still able to pivot when I put it back on. So since I have to move it forward, I take the boards off each time, make sure that each kicker is in the right spot, then I put it back on and line myself up with that 7 foot 10 mark again until I'm done with the corner, and then I'm good to go back down the straight line. Here I am coming up on another corner, so I'm going to measure 7 foot 10 out from the stake on both sides. Give me a good starting and ending point. I connect the 3 boards together so I can see the curve, and it tells me right where to put that kicker in. And so I move it all the way over to the side of one board, not in the middle, because then it won't be able to pivot. And when I do that, it pushes the boards forward. That's why I take them on and off a couple times, and I keep relining it up with that 7 foot 10 mark, just to make sure that I'm right where I want the corner to be. After that, back down the line, putting the kickers right in the middle of the boards for full support. It's getting exciting because it's starting to look like a rink. You can see how big it's going to be in our yard. All the kickers are in. It's good to have those in before the ground freezes. Otherwise, it's much harder to get them in. And now when the ground does freeze, it'll kind of lock everything into place. You will notice though that the right side is a little bit lower than the left side. So that means the water is going to be deeper over there. And so these little kickers, they do a really good job all around, but my water on the right side is actually going to come up to like an inch below that board, the top of it. So in between all of the little kickers, right in about the middle, you'll see some of the deep water supports that I've made. And we're going to put them all along this line. So there's nothing too fancy about this next part, but the water on this side gets to pretty much about this high. So that's a little bit too much for the black supports. So it's just this wood frame that we have. I put it right in between in the middle, and all it is just get it straight up and down. Sometimes there's a little bit of gap under there, but that's just because of the hill and the contour of the grass right there. So some of them have little feet that I've put on just to help keep them level as we go in. But that'll be good, and then later when the water pushes back on this board, it just gives it way more support like that. we've got these metal spikes to go in and help support the smaller black kickers. Just a little added support, only on the ones where the deep water are. All right, so we got one of these for each tree. It's just a cool LED light. I'm gonna go put it against the tree and pretty much just wrap it around. Here we go. Yep, right underneath this. All right, and this just stays right here for a minute until I plug the extension cord in. Uppity up. Tiptoes on the ladder. Light test. This is when I start to get pumped up because we're getting close here, and when the lights are up, you know we're going to be out here at night playing under the stars with the moon. It is the absolute best. So next we're going to build our little mini rink that goes right here, where we're going to put our bench for putting on our skates and all that stuff. And we also have some of these wood stakes right here, which I am going to mount at the end of the rink over there, and it's going to help hold up our big giant backing net, which you will see soon. All right, so it's nighttime, but I want to keep going because it's fun, and I want to make sure I get this stuff in before the ground freezes, because it's so much harder once the ground is frozen. So what I'm doing now is setting up a little flagpole that we have. I made it out of the same stakes. Piece in the middle just gives me something to push up against while I do this, so I can make sure that we're good and tight. So I can take that out. Like I said, we're just going to sandwich this 2x4 right in between here. I'm going to use this piece here. Sweet. So after I got all these stakes in, that night we had a huge snowstorm. Started about 3 in the morning, and it went for an entire day, leaving us with tons of snow. And that's cool. But now what I'm going to have to do is shovel out this rink, because it's not good to put the liner on top of that. It'll create a little bit of a kind of a barrier there, which makes the snow melt, and you'll have this weird like slushy thing that you're dealing with all the time. So we're going to shovel that out. Just a little bit of snow. Rooting for this one. Today's the day. I'm gonna get the liner out, run the hoses. Let's do it. in. The important things that we did is make sure that we tried to get all the wrinkles out, and we were real gentle. You know, you don't want to tug around the wood or get any tears. We're all tucked in around the corners, but I've got slack on each side, because as the water starts to fill, it's gonna need to have some extra tarp to pull in. So we're actually looking really good right now, and we're gonna try something for the first time that I haven't done before. We're gonna attempt to tape out a blue line. So let's go. Got 2 hoses going. It's still going to take about 10 to 11 hours to fill. It's 9:30 in the morning, so we should be done somewhere around, 8:30ish. 2 hours later. While the rink is filling, I'm going to start building the mini rink over here. So I've got a few supplies. It's not much, and the stakes are real small. It's just these little 6-inch tall pieces that are pretty free-forming, so you can just kind of set them down wherever you want, and then I'm going to stake them into place. Then we'll throw another little mini liner down. Here's what 5 hours of filling looks like. Got about an hour and a half until we're fully submerged, and then waiting for it to just rise up. We need 4 inches of water. So we're basically going to fill until this lower corner right here has 4 inches of water on it. I'm going to put a rope up in this tree, connect it over to that tree. And you'll find out why in a little bit. Why did I attach a rope from this tree to that tree? Will we ever find out? It's starting to snow. Mini rink is all set to go. Got the liner in. Main rink's been going for about 6.5 hours, a little more. And we are just about to touch the shallow wall over there. There's plenty to do while the rink is still filling. I'll take you through a couple of those things that I'm doing, but one thing right now is I'm going and trimming off all the slack, all the extra liner that was sticking over, so that when I go and put my yellow pool noodle caps over the top, it's going to look nice and clean. I have some of these noodles in place right now because they're just kind of holding the liner while everything fills. But those are actually going to be coming off in a little bit, and I'm going to be putting on some cool plastic, like they call them kick plates, but they're basically going to protect this wall of the liner. But when it snows, or when we go to shovel and maintain the rink, you don't want your shovel to hit that liner, which could potentially rip it or cause you all kinds of problems. So we have cool covers that are going to go over that. The deep side is where a lot of the work happens. I've trimmed the liner back. Sometimes I just take that and I'll end up tucking it between the board and the deep water support here. But I'll show you this. The water level is coming pretty close to the top of this. And you'll see here, there's the top of the board. So we only have about 3 inches left or so before that's going to dump over the top. So what we can do is raise the liner up like this along the top of these deep water supports. And then what I have is a whole second set of boards that can be screwed on, and it's going to help it so that even if the water goes to the top of that board, the second boards are still going to give us some height, like over there. These are the second layer of boards. I've drilled holes into these ones because we're going to use some lag screws, and we're going to put them through the board coming this way, and we're going to be able to screw right into our deep water support. So all the hinges of the boards will lock together, and they'll get lag screwed into these deep water supports, which is going to kind of connect everything into one long run, give it even more support. It's going to look good. We are all filled. We have 4 inches, maybe just a little bit more on this left side, so the ice is going to be super thick. We got all of the yellow noodles placed around the border, so that's a nice pad for everybody. Makes the rink look super good. We're all set. Here's what the back side of the deep water looks like. And if you look on the other side here, you can see where the lag bolts are locking everything in. All along the walls, we have this plastic kick plate put in. I'll pull it away a little bit. You can see that it's covering our liner, so we're not going to scratch anything with the shovel. It'll protect everything. Nice and hard plastic all the way down. Here's the mini rink all ready to go. In the past, I've ordered my regular liner just extra big, and then that way it comes over and covers the mini rink as well. But it's a little bit more expensive to do that, so this year I just bought a separate piece of plastic. And yes, it's clear, but it'll be okay, it'll still freeze. Mini rink is all set.
Are you nearly I long to know you're real. I long for you to be a part of me. I long to know you're real.
One of the first things that I do every time when I'm checking the ice is there's a pretty unique sound that comes with it when it's not ready. It's kind of like this pingy noise almost when it echoes. Right now this is pretty solid, and that's a good way for me to know that it's going to hold me up. Let's see if we can find that noise on the other side. Sometimes the stick will make that noise too, but this is just kind of a blunt, solid, so it's good to go. Let's go take a walk down here. The mini rink is looking good. And so remember, that's a clear plastic liner. So that's why you can actually see the grass in it more than over here where it was a white plastic. Let's try our puck noise. This is also solid. So with that said, let's be bold and go on the ice. We're going on. Nice and solid. Now I'm just going to say one thing, and then I'm going to be quiet as I walk around, because I'm going to be listening for that edge over there to be making any noise, like I said before, and kind of like an up-down shift on the whole sheet of ice. I want to avoid that, which is why I've waited for a good while to come on here. Everything is nice and solid though, all the way along the boards. And like I said before, you can't see the liner anymore because we have these plastic kick plates that go over it. So underneath here, you have these cool L-shaped plastic pieces that we put on. They slide right down while I was filling. And they protect the liner so that later when the puck hits it or a shovel hits it, not going to cause any damage. Now I'm not hearing any noise come from the rink, which is exactly what I want. Hear that? That's what I'm trying to avoid. That's it settling though on the boards. Listen. There's most definitely a little bit of water under there, so I am going to give it just one more day before we unleash the season. Sweet, we are rolling. The rink is ready to hold us. We shoveled it off because we got another like 8 to 10 inches of snow last night, maybe even 12. The snow has been crazy this year. It's December 7th, and we have had like over 2 feet of snow, at least. So check this out. What we have here is our Zamboni. And it's pretty much dumping out water right now, but it's this pole tube that my garden hose connects to. And then it has a whole bunch of little holes drilled in here that are squirting out the water. Our towel drapes it down. And as I go, and I'm actually gonna move rather quick, this is just gonna smooth out our water. So we don't have any ridges in our lines. If you don't have the towel, it actually does make a pretty big difference. So right now, the rink is good to hold us, but this is kind of like the finishing touch where we can see it just look like glass. So we have kind of medium warm water coming out right now. It's connected into the slop sink in my house. It's a mix of cold and hot, so just medium. You want to move kind of quick, because if you go too slow and put down too much water, then what happens is you get like this layer of ice that cures over the top of your rink, and it's like a little shell. So then as you start skating on it, it just cracks and breaks and like kind of just turns into these little like scales of ice. So by going quick, it's gonna make sure that it just bonds nice and good to our existing ice. If you're in a situation where you need a lot more water to fill or do something to a crack, or you need to repair some ice, you're better off packing it with snow and then going over just thin layers like this. You might have to do 2 or 3 rounds, but it's going to work out a lot better than if you would just flood it. So I just keep moving. Right now it's like 19 degrees out, maybe 18 at this point. So when it's this cold, it'll take about an hour and a half. I'll probably give it 2 hours just to make sure that this water has a nice bite. It's not gonna wanna just frost up and flake off on us. But after that 2 hours, we are probably gonna have opening night over here, skating on the rink. We'll have the lights on. Whoa, we'll have some fun. So you remember that rope that we put in the tree before? It's time to talk about what that's for. In the next scene, the little baby tree got covered up again. I'm gonna have to save this guy a bunch of times this winter. Here's our big backing net. And we'll get it all rolled out and hung up. I just gotta get up to this rope, tie this whole thing up. And I'm just gonna tie this thing around a bunch of times. This is that sweet rope that we put in earlier. All it does is give me a good centering spot to mount this in the trees. I could go to one of those other trees, but I wanted it to line up right with the back of the rink, so this rope allows me to do that. We put in these stakes, and they have these little hooks. There's one there, here, and those are just going to give me a nice spot to grab the bottom of this net, so we can tie it up nice and tight up high, and then we can pull it tight down low, and it'll catch all our pucks real good. That tree up there has an eye ring, little eye screw that I put into the tree a few years back. So it tells me kind of how high to go for one, but that also gives me an easy way to anchor everything down. There it is, right here. It's pretty hard to see, but it's right here. All set. Let's just take our netting and pull it straight down, get to that hook. And then I'll tie it down over here. And then this string just ties right down to this leg. It is almost time for us to be skating. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching us build this, and I hope it makes you want to have something like this of your own. It seems like a lot of work, but it is worth every second of it, I can promise you. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Skating party coming up. Ice Rink.
Mom, can I show you something funny? Yes, I finally did what I wanted to do. Satisfying.